3, 2, 1. What's up, guys? It's your boy here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm coming at you with something very, very special and near and dear to my heart. Recently, on October 31st, they came out with a new set for Vanguard and Standard called Phantom Dragon Aeon. And in that set, beheld one of my most treasured units, my original and main avatar, Emperor Dragon Gaia Emperor, from my favorite clan, Tachikaze. I have been playing Tachikaze for the longest time, and I've always considered Emperor Dragon Gaia Emperor my main avatar. Though in my recent videos, if you've heard me, Tachikaze deck profiles, you always say to me, your Megarex was my avatar. Megarex was my avatar for Standard, and I haven't that point, but before then, in G Series, Gaia was my avatar. And taking a trip through down memory lane, I decided to dig out my old Gaia stuff and show how much my proof is. I have 4 copies of the original OG Gaia to show how he started in the first thing. Then he got some armor. Then his future was obtained in the form of Gaia Dynast. And then New Destruction Emperor Gaia Devastate. All of that, and then through that time, he obtained friends in the form of Prismberg. And then and that's pretty much all of Gaia's timeline. And some of his comrades from other series joined Gaia, such as Heavy Bullet Dragon Diablo Cannon and Assault Dragon Assault Rex. All of these units have returned to me in their form in Standard. And this deck has been one of the most successful and my most favorite deck I've built and played in Standard to this point, up to date, and is probably going to be my favorite deck for the longest take of time. Now, I'm going to state this straight off the case. This deck does not contain Sweep Caratardo. I hope I'm saying this right. The 10k gauge equipter. I'm going to say this off the gate. It does not include that card. And I'm going to tell you, even if it is a really good card, you do not need it. You'll see why I play this in the deck. Before I get into the deck profile, I want to give a shout out to all the sellers who helped me collect these the deck in such a quick time and get the order to me as fast as I can. Been waiting a long time, and they shipped it out right on the same day as air. So big shout outs to them. I know they're probably not going to watch this video, but still big shout outs to them. Alright, I'm not going to keep you waiting any longer. Leave a like and subscribe, and let's get on to this deck profile. Starting off, we got 4 copies of the newly obtained Emperor Dragon Gaia Emperor. My avatar has returned, and with a damn good skill. So, continuous on Vanguard, during my turn, all of your rear guards with equipped gauges get plus 5,000 power. If my opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, we get 10k instead. And on Vanguard, it has a skill that I can counterblast 1 when it attacks. Does not have to attack a Vanguard. I can counterblast 1, retire a rear guard, and until the end of the turn, the original attack retired for this cost of the unit gets added to Gaia, and the critical as well if the opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater. This is really good. Not only does equip gauging now have a way of adding power boost in the form of Gaia, but I also get an additional damage that I don't have to run as many critical triggers as possible. Even though you still are running a pretty good amount of critical triggers, and you can run even more to apply heavy amounts of pressure, you don't necessarily need that anymore. Or you have to have a booster behind Gaia to make Gaia go over bodies. You can even start your attack off with Gaia if you really wanted to. Which, by the way, this deck, even though it's an Excel 2 deck, does really go through your deck. You can speed this deck up and slow this deck down as much as you want. It all depends on how you want to play the deck. And I also will say this is my first take on the list. You're going to see me update this list as many times, but for now, this is what we got. So yeah, of course, for my Bushin avatar, Gaia. And then I'm playing more of a Toolbox grade 3 setup, as in I play 4 more grade 3s, but they're only 1 copy of each. And this is what I'm playing. 1 copy of my SP, SVR, Ravenous Dragon Gigarex by Bloodhound Tempest avatar, Thundering Sword Dragon Anger Blader, OG Arded Tyrant Deathrex, and finally, Sundering Dragon Terrathenazino, which is a new card from Aeon. All of these cards have their great ups and downs in this deck. And why I say this is a great toolbox set, great toolbox lineup, is because each one of these has their own unique way of in this deck. It doesn't matter which one of these you open. Gaia, of course, is the best one. But if you open up any one of these as well, you have a really good, unique playstyle. So Gigarex has its great ability in the deck to automatically just Vanguard attack, put all quick gauges onto as many units, and then next turn ride Emperor, and then all your units are going to have quick gauges. Or you could use all the quick gauges you gauged off the new units, and then use Gigarex's skill to deal 1 damage and just apply pressure that way. Gigarex has its great advantage in this. Just like in before, and in previous times when Thundering Sword Dragon Anger Blader, before he was banned, has the ability to stand with 3 or more quick gauges when Vanguard, if they attack. This deck makes the quick gauges as fast, so if you really speed up this deck and you open up Anger Blader, you can easily pull off Anger Blader, and there's no reason why you should not be running Anger Blader. Tyrant Deathrex may just be in here because it's the alternate art. You may think that, but I'm really having him in there for a really heavy beat stick and my opponent's rear guard retiration. And then to get this in there, this is basically like Megarex there, as you know, is the Megarex of grade 3. Instead of having to counterblast one to get in a quick gauge, I just retire a rear guard when it attacks a Vanguard and draw a card if it had the unit with a quick gauge. So this lineup is really good, and I like it a lot. There's so much you can do with it. You can really try out Zero, but I really like this toolbox lineup. It's been working me very well. I have been testing this with my friends at locals, and they've been playing stuff like Chronojet, Alt Mile, Majesty Lord Blaster. I even faced a Luard person who had full Luards, and I still won against him as well. So this deck has been really working out for me as well, even without sweep. That's it for the grade 3s. There are 8 grade 3s in that deck. Alright, now on to the grade 2s. One of the newest grade 2s we get is one of the equip gauge makers. 4 copies of Regiment Dragon Reggie Don. So Reggie Don here has the ability to, on Vanguard rear guard, when this unit attacks, I may put the top card of a quick gauge for any of my units, including itself. And then auto on rear guard, when this unit is retired by my card's ability, I can call up to 1 card from this unit's equip gauge to rear guard. And then I have the option of putting in a top card of my deck face down as a quick gauge for that unit. However, this skill can only be used by a card with the same card name once a turn. So if I have 2 Reggie Dons and I pop them both in the same turn, I can only use one of their effects to call the quick gauge. But Reggie Don is still very good because this can generate an equip gauge on command, even for itself, to make itself a 19k attacker without a boost. And then I can retire with another skill and make a whole new another column. That's a whole new another attack that comes right your way. So Reggie Don is really good. I feel this card should not have been a rare. I feel this card should be an SR, because literally this card is way powerful for not to be. It's a really good card. And this card goes great in tangent with our next grade 2, which is 4 copies of Zealous Horned Dragon Dilopho Pyro. So Dilopho Pyro has the great ability, and I mean great ability, to have, when placed from hand, counterblast 1, draw a card, and call a card from your hand to rear guard. This reminds me a lot of the grade 1 for Royal Paladins, I believe it's Knight Squire Allen, to call and then place a to counterblast one and draw a card and then call a card from hand. However, when the card is called from this, I can put the top card at a quick gauge for that unit. And the great other skill is its second auto skill. When placed from the equipped gauge, this unit gets plus 10k until the end of the turn. So, if I retire Reggie Don, for example, and Dilawful Pyro was called from under it, not only do I get 10k from Dilawful Pyro skill, but I can place another equipped gauge from Reggie Don. With Gaia as my vanguard, Dilawful Pyro gets an additional 20k when placed like this. That is excluding the boost. He sits at 29k, which is ridiculous. This card is great. Not only does it refill your hand and summon your allies, oh, it's such a good card. It's such a good card. I love this card. On to the other grade 2s. That's all the ones we play out of 4 ofs. On to the 2 ofs. We play 2 copies of Ravenous Dragon Megarex, the OG killer of the rearguard. The grade 2 now, who we played at 4 of, now becomes a 2 of. But this card is still amazing, because it still can, when attack, retire another rearguard and draw a card. Basically Therizino, but it's grade 2. And then this says the ability to counterblast one and put the top card on a quick gauge for this unit. I'm reiterating this effect, even though I've showed this card many times, because it's really, really important for this deck right now. Because it gets plus 5k for each equipped gauge equipped to this unit. And so it can generate a equipped gauge for itself, then get plus 5k on top of that. If it's on an additional circle, that gets an additional 5k. And then with Gigarex's, not with Gigarex's skill, with Gaia's skill, Gaia gives Megarex here an additional 10k, which is absolutely insane. So, yeah, Megarex is really good. The other grade 2 we were playing is kind of like a budget version of Sweep, but I find this card way better than Sweep. So, and that card is True Ancient Dragon Heft Strikecase. So Strikecase, even though we are not playing a front trigger in this deck, we're not even playing a single front trigger, so that his second skill is basically useless. What I really like about this unit is that it's basically Sweep without having to generate 3 equipped gauges under Sweep to make a Sweep. If you understand what I'm talking about, Sweep basically has to generate 3 equipped gauges to make it unaffected or retired by opponent's card effects. Heft Strikecase does this even if it's just on an additional rearguard circle. It can't be retired by your opponent's card effects, and it gets an additional 5k. So it gets essentially it's a 19k attacker on an Excel circle. And it can't be retired by opponent's card effects, but it can be chosen. So I really like Strikecase. But I think 2 is good enough because I really like the other grade 2. I think the other grade 2s we are playing is very important. And then the last grade 2 is 1 copy of Assault Dragon Ply Tops. I can't really cut Ply Tops. I really think Ply Tops is a great hand refiller. So you can generate as many equipped gauges as you want, and then you can obviously just generate 2 under Ply Tops at any point you want, and then add them back to your hand. I find this great for refilling your hand since you're calling a body units to make a quick gauge boards, or just in general thinning out your deck, and so you really need to get your hand back. So I think the 1 Ply Tops is a really good shout at, and I think it's a great tech engine into this deck. And I've been testing this, and it hasn't bricked me once or failed me at all. That's it for the grade 2s. On to the grade 1s. We are playing 4 copies of the new grade 1 Darting Dragon Blue Sprint. I also should have mentioned, I kind of forgot to explain this as well, that Strikecase looks a lot like here he is, Diablo Cannon. And Darting Splint Dragon Blue Sprint looks a lot like Assault Rex. They really do. I just figured I'd show you that because I found that really interesting that they kind of brought back the units. Anyways, Darting Sprint Dragon Blue Sprint is literally the grade 1 version of Reggie Don, and literally has the exact same text, word for word. So, it's literally just a grade 1 version of Reggie Don, and this card is really good, just as good as that, except it just can't intercept. But that's fine, because it actually 5k for shield. The other grade 1s we're playing in this deck is 3 copies of Vicious Claw Dragon Laser Text. So Laser Text is automatic equip gauge gauger and a refiller from your hand for a cost of a Soul Blast. For basically like a grade 1 version of Ply Tops, except it can only give you one card from this unit's equip gauge. Excuse me. So, I like this card because it's automatically an 18k booster for when you have it under Gaia. So I think this card is really good. Even though this card came out a long time ago, I still would play this. Then on to the other grade 1s. We are now on to the 2-ofs. And people will hate me for this, but I think 2 is very fine. We are playing 2 copies of the new grade 1, grade 3 searcher, Prism Bird. People will sometimes say that you need 4 of the grade 3 generators. I disagree, especially in this deck. You are digging through your deck as fast as you can already with the amount of quick gauges you're generating, the 6 draw triggers that you play in this deck as well. Well, at least I'm playing this well. So I don't think you need to generate your grade 3s from your deck as fast as you can, because you're already blowing through your deck so fast and you don't want to deck out. So I think 2 is very fine, and you can definitely easily search out Prison Bird by adding it back to your hand with like stuff like Ply Tops. And if you don't open up Prison Bird, that's fine. You have 6 draw triggers and you're blowing through your deck so fast already that you can probably just get your grade 3 normally by drawing it, and you're easily going to see Gaia. I have blown through my deck, blown through my deck to like there's 6 cards left most games. So, yeah. It's very easy to get through this deck, and I don't think you want to speed your deck up as fast as possible any more than what it already is. So I think 2 Prison Bird is a really solid. You can obviously test more Prison Bird, but I think after testing, especially at my locals, against stuff like, against Narukami and other decks, like Luard, and there's so many decks I play this deck against, it's not even funny. But I just found 2 Prison Birds to be really solid and just very good. It's not needed more, not really needed less. I might try bump this up to 3, but I think 2 is a really solid number. Then the last grade 1s we are playing in the deck, 2 copies of Lightblade Dragon Zandy Lefo. This is an automatic equip gauge maker by resting it, and I can counterblast 1 and give that unit plus 5k into the end of the turn. I really just like it. This is a free equip gauge generator that I do not have to pay a cost to make. And then the last grade 1 is 1 copy of Loading Dragon Archeolo Cargo. This common, you can probably add another Prison Birding for it, but I really like this card because instead of having to pay a cost to get an equip gauge back to my hand, I can just place it under Archeolo Cargo and get it back to my hand. So it's essentially a free call for the free give back. And Archeolo Cargo can easily be retired by a card effect at any point in time, especially with Gaia. That is it for the grade 1s. On to the trigger lineup. We are playing 6 crit, 4 Black Cannon Tiger, 2 copies of Savage Aggressor. And then for draws, we are playing 4 draw PGs, which is my Archbird. And 2 Cannon Fire and Dragon Ankleo. I'm probably going to test out 5 draw and 7 crit for a bit, but this is what I've been currently testing. Again, first take on the list. I really do think, though, this list is solid, especially after I've been play testing it. And no, I do not feel that I should play more crits at the moment. When testing this out, I still felt that I needed to have a decent, I wouldn't say a giant hand. It's not as giant as my big hand Tachikaze made in the past, but it's still a decent sized hand that I don't have to really like, oh, I have to save up. I don't have to call as many cards as a hand, less cards in a hand, or hold back when calling cards to make big boards and risk my hand, as I still feel the 6th draw really provided that balance for me. It's even under the generation, because sometimes you'll even put your draw triggers under your equip gauges, and that's fine as well, so that way you're essentially losing your draw trigger as well. This just makes sure you see some draws. And then, of course, we have our 4 heals. I play Savage Shaman because it's the one I have. You can obviously play the new one. It's the same. It's just a heal trigger. It doesn't matter which one you play, and there's no reason to play the other one. And then obviously your starters in the form of Dragon Egg, Gaia before he evolved. What the heck? Better. Dragon Egg. And yeah, the Blitz Order is the quick shield you play in this deck as well. And yeah, Excel 2 deck. Gaia is here. I'm extremely happy and thrilled to have Gaia back in my hands and on my side in this new generation. Thank you guys for tuning into this deck profile. If you guys did enjoy this deck profile, do me a favor, leave a like and subscribe down below. Comment as well, because I am more than happy to answer your questions, or let me know in general what you think about this, my take on Gaia. Without further ado, this is your boy Yeet, signing out. Hope you guys have a fantastic Tuesday. And I'll catch you guys here next time for a new video or stream on my YouTube channel. Peace out.